Okay, we'll call this meeting to order of Western Lane Fire and EMS Authority, Scioto Valley Fire and Rescue, and Western Lane Ambulance District. Will you rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic. Thank you. Do we have anybody sign up for public comments? It is, but I'm not using it. There we go. I think this is one that doesn't work. It just doesn't work. I know a couple of them don't. Okay, so now we have the opportunity. We're going to officially recognize the promotion of Rob Chance to our training division chief. Roll call. First, we'll do roll call. Thanks, Mary. She's coming.
Present.
Director Burns.
Here.
Director Fleetsy.
Here.
And Director Spade. Ambulance directors. Director Webb.
Here.
Director Russell. Here. Director Holbrook.
Here.
Director Buss. Here. Director Murphy.
Here.
Media Director. Director Webb.
Here.
Director Fleetsy.
Here.
Director Spade. And Director Murphy.
Here.
Good one. And
All 10. And how'd we do it last? I know you did it that. How'd we do it last month? Yeah, we combined it. SVFR and WLFEA, Western Lane and WLFEA. So we do have a quorum, a WLFEA quorum, 3 and 3. So we're good to go. Okay. Now public comments. Any public? No, still okay. Now we're ready to acknowledge Chief Chance. You come forward, please. I state your name.
I, Robert Chance,
Solemnly swear to do my duty to the chief of Western Lane Fire and EMS Authority to the best of my ability.
do solemnly swear to do my duty as a division chief for Western Lane Fire and EMS Authority to the best of my ability.
To serve the agency with respect and loyalty.
Serve the agency with respect and loyalty.
To serve the citizens of our community with compassion, courage, and integrity.
Serve the citizens of our community with compassion, courage, and integrity.
To represent my agency and community with honor and dignity for upon and up duty.
To represent my agency and community with honor and dignity for honor and up duty.
And to uphold the laws and Constitution of the United States of America, the state of Oregon, and the community we protect.
And to uphold the laws and constitutions of the United States of America, the state of Oregon, and the communities we protect.
So help me.
So help me God.
Congratulations. Standing ceremony. Should we make a safety word? Did you want a safety words or anything?
No.
Okay.
Thank you. I'm good. Later.
You know, if they were cleared or they're back or. Yeah, so we were going to have a presentation by Nick Terrell, him and Kyle and a few other people. They're starting a rope rescue team for Western Lane Fire and EMS Authority. And I thought it'd just be a good idea to show the directors what they're doing, how they're doing it. They're just starting the team. They've had tryouts for the team. It was very competitive and now they're doing the training and they're doing a great job. But they were on that. We just had a fire alarm. They're busy. Hopefully they'll be back and we'll fit them in. Thanks, Abe. Okay, so they are here, so they'll be up in a second. So the consent agenda consists of meeting minutes, staff reports, and correspondence. Would anybody like to bring something out of the consent agenda? Hearing none, consent agenda as printed is adopted. Review of monthly financial. Dina is not with us tonight. She is taking a vacation day, but I'd be happy to pass on any questions you might have to her.
Anybody else? I don't know.
I'm pretty sure I could answer most questions, but if you have any. We're still early in the budget year. Overtime's always high the first couple months in the summertime, and then it'll come back down. We expect that, but other than that, I think things are as expected for first 2 months. Okay, we have no old business. New business. Had a request by Director Webb. He was interested in our volunteer program, how that's going, what's going on. I had Chief Chance put together a report that's in your packet there to talk about our volunteer program. And it's a very important program for us, but we have the same problems that everybody else in the United States has right now with volunteers. Rob, if you wanted to address a few points, yeah, or stand up or yeah.
So as part of my new position, Chief asked me to oversee the volunteers and then work on a recruitment plan. This is just our current volunteer status. Recruitment can be a team effort and take quite a bit of planning. Currently, we have 13 volunteers. 11 are active, one is at a child, and then one is out on extended medical leave. I'm not sure if we'll see them back again. I wrote down just the requirements or expectations of we expect our volunteers. There's kind of 2 pathways that they can do to satisfy the requirements. They can work shift, which would be 3 duty shifts, and those would be 4, 8, 12, or 24-hour shifts. And if not, then 75% real attendance gets based on online target solutions, both EMS and fire, and try to make at least 3 falls. Nick Terrell, who had this task with him before me, he created a random survey, which I didn't provide, just kind of a feel for how, the volunteers, their needs, their wants, how they're being treated. And, we kind of collected all the data, and it seemed like a lot of it was based on training, but kind of fitting, it's kind of landed in my lap, but I think want more diversified training, more consistent training across the shift. So we can do A, B, and C shift, they all have their agenda. So more consistent training, less maintenance, they don't want to come here and all with maintenance. And then more bonding activities to both stations, not just the station. Specifically, I got a lot of feedback for group breakfast. A lot happens on the breakfast table. I know it's a big thing over at Station 10, because county was a big thing over here. Which is great for everybody in the kitchen and say. And then some of the things that are deterrent factors, and I don't think we're unique in all of these. So huge time commitment, you can't just let them come in and put it behind the wheel of the truck. And a lot of training that goes in, academy and ongoing training, task force. Prior record violation for the time, they might not even apply. And then the physical demands, so pulling those, pulling air packs. And currently, we just started the new recruit academy. It's one of the bigger ones we've had in a couple of years. Part of that being because there's also a few part-timers from Station 10. So we'll have 3 true volunteers that are in district, 5 are part-time employees, and they live out of district. And then of those 5 part-timers, 2 of them will be last, and 1 is from Borough. So, and Lieutenant Ross is in that we said, you can explain it. We were 2 days. Any questions about the status or? I keep saying I don't think we're using this problem, especially I don't want to say it's right there.
Hey, Rob, do we have an updated trend historical to current?
You mean current as far as
Historical,
numbers?
volunteer
Number
numbers?
you're good? Yeah, it is. Yeah. I call it too, that's some of my friends, I think they're very similar, really, that we are now. And so I reached out to their training officer, and they can get me some numbers for the last 3 years. I mean, I know at one point they had 80 volunteers, and that is all disappeared. They still have quite a bit. They are larger, but yeah, they're not just our problem.
This has got to be our lowest number for many, many years.
Do we need, well, with the model, chief hospital put out as far as staffing, I mean, maintain minimum staffing and what we have, we like to have, as many that we can get on per day, just for training and whatnot, but how many do we need? I'd say 100.
Yeah.
Super fresh staff that when they ongoing time, and it is a lot of time. I would want
Our major calls like a structured fire, you need 15, 16 people to handle it safely. And so we rely on our volunteers to fill out that 5, 6, 7, 8 people that we need for that. If we don't head, depending on how many that are on shift. So
Truth of the matter is, it's not just us. We can't look like what we're doing something wrong, why we're losing volunteers. Nationwide, public entities, schools, YMCAs, every type of organization, people just don't volunteer.
that's true. That's true. Yeah.
Well, the trend is the cost of living has increased so much in general as well, so you can't have like a single income family and devote another person to volunteer time. You could do that 20 years ago.
But I'm encouraged with the new academy coming up. And I think we're going to put, 100% effort into increasing our volunteer ranks. And provide more opportunities for team bonding. We had the picnic a couple weeks ago, which very few people attended, but we'll still keep offering them. We got movie night coming up. Hopefully, maybe some directors want to go to a movie. We'll continue doing events and trying to keep people involved. But yeah, we have so few fires that it's tough to keep people involved and active and happy. Director Webb, do you have a question?
Yeah, basically, one of the biggest concerns we had when we were considering blending districts and putting everybody under one roof, and this is from years ago, is how it would affect paid staff between paid staff and volunteer staff and making sure that the culture blends. Is there anything that we can do as a board to help make that better for the volunteers that we currently have and maybe the future volunteers to make sure everybody feels welcome and important? A big part of the organization is the volunteers, and the volunteers shouldn't feel slighted just because they're volunteers, as opposed to paid staff.
I've been encouraged with the interaction. I think now that we're going to see more assignments to the different stations, so there'll be more of a mix. So some of our career people from Station 10 will have an opportunity to work with some of the volunteers at Station 1. I think that will help. But I think in general, I think it's been a very good interaction. I've not heard anything negative. I don't know if you guys heard anything negative or have anything you willing to comment on.
I would say if there is a negative is our first out, takes away some of the, which is a delay if we wait for volunteers to come. That's some of the interactions I've heard from previous volunteers. Well, I can't make the rig. I can't get on the apparatus. Our full-time staff are getting out the door too quick. We tried to make concessions and work through it, but really at the end of the day, our number one priority response is to get to the community quick, and we have a great first punch. It's an analogy, but we're developing the counter punch right now. And that's what's going to take time. It's going to be this 8 people going through the recruit academy, the part-time and our full-time staff as well.
Have we ever thought about talking to the school district and see if they would put in our class, fire science EMT class, and have somebody like Rob go teach it? You can actually get credit for it, try to generate.
We have talked about, I've done that in previous departments where it was actual class, fire academy. I think we are talking about it, and up in Washington, the school district paid us because we had it was like 3-4 hour class that they were at every day. So absolutely, I'd be willing to do that. And then that leads into hopefully they graduate and become volunteers. Absolutely. I think it's a great idea. Yes.
I got a couple of questions. How many certain
In between 10 and 12.
are any of them volunteers and interested in participating?
Some were, but then transitioned out to just be more of a cert member.
I would think the average age is 70 of our cert.
Well, they may not be capable of full blown superior task firefighting, but then I know it's conditions. They could be very useful on fire. Other things.
Yeah.
Air balls. Helping with. There were a couple of officers. There's things that they can do that may spark some interest for others to want to use.
That's a good idea. Yeah.
And, are volunteers allowed to bring their own POs to the extent?
Come to the station.
Is that normal here in Oregon? Is there anything that would prohibit us from saying you can use your own POV to come to an incident? You gotta obey certain regulations and laws.
So we wouldn't allow their protective equipment, their bunker gear in their vehicle. I mean, if they had a truck, and we'd have to take it to the incident with us. So, I mean, there's some newer concerns with.
You can go back to history. Here
Sure.
what happened to some departments that are mainly volunteer, that do have paid staff. Volunteers have 2 sets of turnouts, one at the station, one in their POV in a turnout.
Bag or
Bag or
yeah.
whatever. Therefore, if they're close enough to get to the station, they can go on board, If not, they can respond from home in their POV, not code breaks, so follow DMV laws, so at least to get on the scene, they have their own, personal protective equipment with them, and then report to the officer and check it. So that may help with some of the issues that occurred when they said, well, we can get to the station.
I haven't seen a department do that for many years. I'm not saying that they don't do it. Yeah. And I've seen some in Colorado that used to do that, but yeah, we can talk to our insurance agent. And that's why we encourage doing the shifts so they can be there. They can be first on and Yeah.
Smart.
Yeah.
See,
Absolutely. Yeah, we can do that.
I would think.
Yeah.
Historically, we did have that, like when Florence Fire was Florence Fire, we would all meet on scene back.
Oh, really?
Like
Okay,
so
so
24 or 5 years ago. And we had a vehicle nicknamed Big Ugly that had all SCBA's. It did, my turnouts were actually in there. It's not like a new thought by any means, but the problem that we ran into is the safety concerns, and Director Murphy just said the liability
oh,
issues.
absolutely.
People not following the rules.
Right.
And we get reports of all the time from the police officers, why are your firefighters speeding down the road?
Well, through an intersection, I agree. It's
Workers' comps, workers' comp, you get in a car wreck, it's workers' comp.
that's true. That is very true. And then we have the problem with the contaminated turnouts. They go right back in the bag and then into the POV and then go to get cleaned and then.
Yeah. That would be
That.
not a nightmare, but it'd be, logistically, we'd have to figure that out.
And now our policy states the only time that you can stop at a scene is on, if you're on your way to the fire station and the incident is in between.
Gotcha. All right.
Good question. Any other questions on the volunteer program? Okay, we have our crew back. Nick and Kyle, you guys want to talk about rope rescue?
Hey, Chief,
Yeah,
it's Lori Heppel. Has the fire district reached out to other agencies to find out what they're doing to maybe as far as like recruitment goes? I know LFA, we've lost a lot of members. I know we've had some meetings where we're trying to be innovative and trying to find different ways. Has Siusula done anything like that?
yeah, Rob's reached out to LFA. He's talking to them now. SDAO has done, I think it's a series of like 12 discussions on how can you increase your volunteer numbers. So I think that's something to look at. At the last Chiefs conference, the first one we've had in a couple of years, we didn't talk about that too much, but I think it's something that we need to talk about with other agencies. We tried sharing volunteers with some of our upriver communities. They don't have a lot of volunteers to begin with, so it worked. We got one person that's worked great, but it's just things we're trying. But yeah, I think talking with other people could certainly help. Somebody's got to have some success, I would think.
I know one of the things that I've come across, because I am with LFA, I'd love to come drill with you guys and run calls, but I'm not able to get drill credit for my agency in your guys' district. And so for me, that's kind of a bummer because, when I'm over there, I could be additional support, but I don't want to do twice the credentialing. So just, speaking out and just kind of throwing that out there.
And that's a just LFA requirement. That's not a state or law or regulation, right? I mean, if we talk to them and maybe we could share, I'm sure LFA has some trainings that we could have some people that might be interested in. We do have a lot of people that live that end of the county that it might help for them to get training. I could see us sharing. Yeah, absolutely. Oh, of course you can.
So, y'all know me. This is my fourth academy running through this agency now. It's the largest one I've had. 8 total people, 3 laterals, 5 new recruits. One of them is a full-time paramedic. Like I was gonna say, we have 3 volunteers. To put things in perspective, how valuable of an experience this is for these folks. Elevate just canceled their fall recruit academy because of low. They only had 2 volunteers. So this is not a unique issue. That's already been said. But to kind of put things in perspective, a larger agency had to cancel their recruit academy due to local. So we should be really stoked that we have this volunteer part-time career staff stepping up to the plate in this. I think another thing that you can see was really improved attrition with is overtime. Developing a new 24-hour agency, we have had some older long-time members transition out, but the new members are they're eager. They're predominantly shift workers, and it's easier for volunteers in this day and age to commit. I'm going to commit my Saturday to our community training, I'm going to run calls, and serve my community because I can schedule it. And we're getting more of those people into the agency as opposed to, like you said, the single family home. People can leave whenever they can. We still rely on them for backfill. But with today's economy and with childcare and all these other factors that made volunteering so hard, the fact that we were able to get these three all younger people, my entire recruit academy is under age 30, involved and enthusiastic in this business is a huge deal. So we'll be hearing more about them. My supervisor, just wanted to kind of share what I know about the recruit academy process and what's going on, not only local and national.
Can I ask a question? So how do they have two people that really want to go to it? They cancel their staff.
Yeah.
Because firefighter one is firefighter one. We need firefighter two, firefighter two. Could they have come here and we've seen at least the basics and then learn standard operating procedures with home agency when they're not?
I mean, in theory, yeah, I have no idea where these folks are from, because LFA takes out of district volunteers, which is what we do. That's pretty industry standard now. I do know, talking to my students over there, that they're just being moved to hoping to try to recruit more people. They had 4 going in. One didn't make it through physical testing, and the other one dropped out. So to essentially punt it to the spring, because per capita are expensive to put on. They're labor intensive, and we got to make sure we're getting some out of it. So this is the largest one I've ever had. And it's a really fun group of guys and girls. So I'm excited. I'll get them early. 3, 4, the green lateral 5. 3 laterals and 2. So
I don't think we can look at the cultural change as necessarily a bad thing.
Mhm.
It was easier to be a volunteer, for lack of better words, in a good old boys club than being a volunteer in a very professional, more organized institution.
And that's a very good point, Mike. Yeah, I've been here 12 years. When I started, I was a firefighter in 2 weeks. They're going through a 14-week process now, because over time the standard and demands have gone up. And unfortunately, there's an inverse effect of people learning, because we don't care if you're career, paid, volunteer, part-time, we all want to hold ourselves because the community deserves this.
Good point, Kyle.
He's gonna talk about this.
Awesome.
First, I'd like to thank all you guys for the opportunity to restart this road rescue project. One of my first calls here as probationary firefighter was the excavator over the cliff side, north of town. And one of my first questions to the crew was, who do we call for road rescue stuff? Coming from an organization that was working on a regional road rescue team, I was excited for potentially the opportunity to start road rescue, and I was told North Lincoln and maybe the sheriff's office, which are all 2.5 to 3 hours out. So kind of got some creative juices flowing there. This is clearly something we need. We're kind of on an island out here, and we're going to be waiting way too long. And in fact, there's a number of calls after that where instead of waiting, we may do with what we had, which worked, but may not have been the best option. So in working with the chiefs and with the board, we were able to get a cache of equipment to start us out. These here are examples of what I would call like a backpack. So this backpack here is loaded down with equipment that we can lower rescuers with. We can also rappel with it, as well as 2 300-foot rope packs. We have a main line, our safety line. This is just kind of that initial, we need somebody over the edge, make an assessment, and then see what we need from there. We do have some other equipment downstairs loaded down for the second half of our rescue academy. That we started last weekend. So they went through the first component, now they're going through the majority of the practical skills. We established a testing process to invite all members of the organization, paid, full-time, part-time, volunteer members. The only real requirement was that they were affiliated with the organization and that they were EMT basic or higher, or sorry, EMT or higher. With that, we got 15 candidates. We had 1 bow out and 2 did not make the cut. So we took 12 to this academy. We had to have at least 10 when started to come to us, so reduce costs there. So we didn't have to ship them over to Eugene every day. Like I said, it's going great. They're loving the training. They're doing very well. The instructor loves to be around all the people that they're working with. And did the math last night. Half of them are paramedics currently, soon to be about, well, hopefully next year, about 2/3 of the road rescue academy will be paramedic certified. So we'll be sending ALS providers almost every time on the edge. Like I said, looking forward to the second half of that academy. There'll be a lot of discussing with the team to figure out what we want to do, how we want to do business moving forward, so that we can provide road rescue, hopefully initially for our own district, but eventually create a regional resource option that Swiss Home, Deadwood, Appleton Fire, even Gardner, we can mutual aid with that because Sport has a road team as well as even Doc. So looking forward, I would very much like to see us become a regional resource that we can offer within district as well as to our neighbors as an additional service. Any questions on that stuff?
You're gonna get into the equipment. The pipe scan of them, how often we have to replace them. Absolutely.
So for this equipment here, I do have 2 backups. I actually have 3 sets of red rope, 3 sets of blue rope, and then I have 2 additional sets of 300 feet of rope for specifically for training, so we don't need our call ropes. I have 2 of these bags that are identical. All of the hardware here, these mechanical hardware, these are 2 most expensive items in that bag, are good as long as they pass inspection. So there is no deadline on them. As long as they still function, pass inspection, they're clear. As long as we keep them clean, take care of them with it. All these software items, so the road, the webbing that's in that top lid there in front is good for 10 years. However, a lot of that stuff is going to get torn up long before that, just with wear and tear, wrapping anchor points around trees, things like that. So I do have a little bit of reserve. I am working on using the bolt roll, so if we need it, I can pull it out, cut it. Here you go, signed, sealed, delivered, back in service. I do have a reserve of pretty much, like I said, everything in the bag, in addition to a copy of that bag. Some of the higher price items, like our tripod system, we don't have a reserve for yet. But eventually down the road, I would like to entertain that. And again, with that stuff, it is good until it doesn't pass inspection. For whatever reason, the only things that have a date is our software.
So you guys, these are
Third party, nothing yet. Now, that being said, if we see something that seems out of place, I can send it to a third party outfit to confirm it. Or for example, if there's a turn of the road that myself or any of the other rescues aren't comfortable with, then it's going to become training rope and rather their own state of caution with that. Well, or we can cut it down and make it shorter rope depending on where it is. But all of these are 300-foot sections, so keeping those identical is going to be a lot easier in the long run for us.
nice job.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Just a comment, it might be good when they're all up and running and ready for business. We notify Oregon Loggers Association and Timber Unity, where we have loggers working within our response area, they know that we have to work.
That's a good idea, yeah. It's definitely a high risk, low frequency event, but the frequency is high enough that I was 100% behind this. Yeah, because it's. Could certainly ask, yeah.
Certain, and we've gotten away with doing covering things for a long time, but the advantage of this is doing things more efficiently, and if we can prevent one back injury, this team pays for it.
And safely, yes.
Do we have any of our rolling stock down there capable of using the rolling assembly? Thinking down, you guys thinking down that road?
So I'm doing a little more research on utilizing our ladder truck as a potential for that. So I still have a lot more research to go with that, moving NFPA standards, things like that, checking the weight capacity stuff. Specifically the tip of the ladder truck. There's a few different numbers, and I want to make sure that we get the right numbers to provide the safest opportunity for our rescuers and patients. But also, if we can use it, then that's certainly an option that gives us that mobility.
Next is a confined space.
Hazmat team. I want a hazmat team.
All needed.
I think that I anticipate probably another 4 to 6 months of training before we're fully live. This is just the entry level training, but a lot of information over the course of 2 events, and then the team will continue to work with the team and around January, which will evaluate.
Is there coordination on this, maybe this because of potential flood rescues?
We haven't reached out to Coast Guard yet. Right now, we're just focused on training our members, kind of setting our foundation, kind of reach out to the other partners, the other agencies, because I know Freeport and Gardner kind of a road rescue team. I think Lincoln County has a countywide Lane County Search and Rescue, and then I don't believe LA has one, so kind of reach out to our partners, and kind of get our name out there. Yeah, it's been about 14 months of work put into this to get to this point, predominantly done by the state and some area with providing good comments.
And does the team have their own special set?
Not yet.
Not yet.
Not yet, so we're still working on price lists and going through this academy. We're observing this academy with the folks going through, kind of making a list of some potential wants for use down the road. Eventually, we want to start really hard on the training aspect of it. All of this here at Starter was like, yeah, this is the stuff we need. But we really want to get the training aspect hard, really kind of prove our work to the point of having it, get that foundation set, and then start working that direction. We're working closely with that instructor. Our class B uniform are sufficient for most calls. That said, that doesn't necessarily answer the MBA or engagement question. So that will be potentially a down the road conversation as we go a little more established.
You'll build that list.
Right.
We've already kind of started working on a different PPE with coveralls for MVCs. So that would tie into this most likely.
Nice.
Down the line.
We also changed our bunker gear stuff last year to include a class 2 harness. So then that's what I want to stop with you. It's slightly more expensive. But our mid to low end harnesses.
Especially when you staff. Sort of.
Pushing the wheel forward.
Keeping the back of our minds, we need specialized equipment as this program grows, or we need help with a special vehicle. Let's write a grant for Ford Foundation. They might be very receptive to this type of foundation.
Absolutely, yeah.
We have a pretty good contact there now. Sarah Morecki, that used to work for the city of Florence.
Mhm.
Works for them now.
Ah, good. Absolutely.
Other questions?
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate that. Okay, directors' comments. Would any directors like to comment on anything? Absolutely, Jim.
Member of WLFEA. Top, bottom, left to right. Everybody knows my family experienced the loss of my life. And it wasn't for this agency, I don't think I would be. All of it. I cannot thank you enough. My family can't thank you enough. And it will not be forgotten.
Well, we're all family, so.
Coming weeks, months, probably around the holidays, invite all the board members to my home, our home. And just to, celebrate some as well. All of them, that's it. Door will be open, refreshments and food. You can have fun. With the hearts. Everybody's finding out why we were putting foot on the living spot and it falls into that coffee.
Any other director comments? Okay, meeting is adjourned. Thanks, Mike, Lori.
Good night, everyone.
Yeah, wait, don't go away
What?
yet.
I'm
Don't go away.
not.
All right, there's one other future business. So in November, Matt and I are both gone for the November board meeting. It's a shorter month. We moved up the meeting a week because of Thanksgiving. So would the director still like to meet? You can go ahead and meet, or we can cancel November. Okay. Perfect. Okay, now so Lori and Mike, we're gonna cancel the November meeting and we'll send out notices. And it's a short month, so should be fine. Okay, now we're ended. Thanks for reminding me.
All
See you,
right.
everybody.
Good night.